What is up, family? Welcome back to another UFC YouTube video on the Jesus MMA YouTube channel. Today, I'm kind of going to be talking about recent news, more so about the Jon Jones retirement, and kind of the future of the heavyweight division now, as it's looking pretty bleak. Not gonna lie, it doesn't look too good now that Jon Jones is retired. The one interesting fight in the division, Jones versus Aspinall, now isn't happening. That is now 2 out of the 3 mega fights that were supposed to happen this year. First one being Makhachev versus Topuria. Now Jones Aspinall. And hopefully DDP versus Khamzat happens, but Khamzat has been known to pull out of a lot of fights. So if that one falls apart, man, we just lost the 3 biggest fights of the year. We've already lost 2 of them. Hopefully the third one stays. Or else, man, it's been a rough year for the UFC to say the least. And for the fans especially. But yeah, moving on to the Jon Jones news. Dana White announced last night in the post-fight presser for UFC Baku that Jon Jones is officially retired. And then approximately 10 hours later, we all got news that Jon Jones has been hit with a misdemeanor charge. So nice old Jon Jones celebrating his retirement with another notch in his criminal record. He's been working on that one a lot lately, a bit more than his UFC record. Yeah, so I think it's another hit and run charge in Albuquerque stemming from an incident in February, all the way back in February. But it was filed in motion, I guess, the day he retired or something like that. Yeah, basically, it's a criminal summons that accuses Jon Jones of a misdemeanor charge of leaving the scene of an accident. So, another hit and run. The officer reported that when inspecting the car in the driver's seat, there was a woman who was, quote unquote, unclothed from, I believe, yeah, unclothed from the bottom down. Yeah, basically a fancy way of saying she had no panties on. Yeah, lacking clothing from the waist down was the quote, and she was also intoxicated. And then the woman reportedly said that Jones was the driver and fled the scene. Called him later, and Jones spoke to the officers. I'm not gonna get too deep into the legal situation. Jon Jones' attorneys did not comment on it, and during the phone call, Jon Jones never responded or confirmed that he was Jon Jones. But man, oh man, if I have not seen a more sorry way to end your career than this right here, and I truly believe this when I say this, that Jon Jones is the Lance Armstrong of the MMA world. Now, I hope Lance Armstrong is the drug cheat, right? The cyclist drug cheat. Let's check that real quick. Received in stripped of his titles after investigation doping allegations. Yeah, he is the Lance Armstrong of the MMA world. It is confirmed, no denying it. All the doping, all the bullshit outside of the octagon, all the scandals, and now this. Another feather in his cap of his criminal record. Maybe retirement is the worst thing that can happen to Jon Jones. We're going to see. Because if he can't keep himself busy, he's going to get himself in trouble. And we've seen this happen time and time again. So, a great retirement party decision for Jon Jones. You know, now you're done with the UFC record. Time to stack up them achievements on the criminal record. Because he's already got an extensive one. Trying to be the GOAT in 2 different ways, you know. Greatest of all time in MMA. Greatest criminal of all time, I see. But, yeah. An interview by the Mac Life was also posted recently. I haven't had the chance to fully watch it yet, but it's Dana White, quote unquote, answering questions about the Jon Jones retirement. A majority of the time, he's spent just saying, I don't know the answer to this. You'll have to ask Jon Jones about it. As if Jon Jones would even answer these questions. He walked off of the Nelk Boys podcast just because they asked him about his what's supposed to be his next fight. They asked him about Tom Aspinall.
That's a wild. You open with the wild question. I'm out of here.
My brother, what do you mean? They asked the question about your upcoming contender, the guy you're supposed to fight. It's not a wild question. It's the right question. But it just shows he never wanted to fight Tom Aspinall, and we wasted like 10 months of time just waiting for this fight to happen when every single person knew that it wasn't going to. Because he never outright said that he was going to fight Aspinall. But yeah, frustrating situation. UFC's kind of boned for the Netflix deal unless they start putting on some good cards, which they have not been doing recently. I mean, have you guys seen the UFC 317 pay-per-view? What the fuck is going on? There's like 10 fights in total on that card. This is unacceptable. International Fight Week. And then Peyton Talbot and Felipe Lima is on the main card. I hope that they add some big fights. But I don't know how they're going to with a week left. Like, what a disappointing fucking turn of events for the UFC, man. Just been non-stop bullshit after non-stop bullshit. But anyways, that's besides the point. We'll get back on topic. I am now going to move on to kind of the future of the heavyweight division, because I do think we need to talk about it. It is looking pretty bleak, my friends. The heavyweight division has never been shittier, and even last night in Baku, even if Jon Jones didn't retire, it still would be looking very bleak for the heavyweight division, because Curtis Blades, his fight against Rizvan Kunyev was such a shitter fight, and maybe it's all because of the injury that he got in the first round. But that first round wasn't even that entertaining either. It wasn't that fun, and also the heavyweights just look so fucking unskilled. It just really makes you think that there is an insane skill gap between, I guess, just Tom Aspinall and the rest of the roster at this point. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a pretty bleak future. I guess what's next for Aspinall is the Gane fight, the Cyril Gane fight. But who's excited for that Razor hand? No one? That's what I thought so, man. It's complete bullshit. I mean, the fight should be for Volkov anyways, because he got robbed, but that would be a rematch of a fight where Volkov got subbed in the first round. I know he's better now, but I still think he loses to Aspinall. And yeah, I guess someday we'll see Waldo Cortes Acosta fight for the belt or something, unless Pavlovich beats him, which I think is going to happen. But maybe Cortes Acosta just gets another Waldo Cortes Acosta decision win, where he barely outdoes the guy in a tit-for-tat battle. I don't know, man. Now when I predict UFC heavyweight fights, I rarely ever think there's going to be a KO happening. And that should never, ever, ever be on someone's mind when talking about a heavyweight fight. This used to be the division where, the baddest man on the planet. Don't get hit by these guys. And that's still true. But it just seems that nobody's getting knocked out anymore. It's always the fat, overweight, lazy, sloppy, tit-for-tat battles that always go to decision, low output, clinching up against the fence. Never, ever a fun fight. It's always the same bullshit, man. So, yeah, the future of the heavyweight division kind of looks bleak. I just don't see anybody having a chance of beating Aspinall, to be honest. So, and even the Francis Ngannou fight is like, would that really be that competitive? It'd probably be the most intriguing fight out of them all. So, I don't know, man. Pretty disappointing future we have for ourselves. They stalled out the heavyweight division, completely killed any momentum happening in it, didn't even get the big fight that they were looking for, which was a reason why they killed the whole heavyweight division. And now it's just going to stagnate. Hopefully, Aspinall gets a bunch of defenses in, get some hype, highlight reel finishes, and there can be something that we can be happy to see. But, yeah, man. Fucking Jon Jones can't stay out of trouble. And I just think it's so funny that he retires and then 10 hours later, new criminal charges against Jon Jones. It's just like clockwork. Taken, Jon Jones has had more criminal charges than UFC fights in probably the past 2 years. Think about that, man. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't care if people say, oh, he was injured. Who fucking cares, man? Who cares? He barely fought, even before that. Took so much time off. Just disgraceful. Disgraceful end to the career. And yeah, what a spit in the face of UFC fans. But thankfully, we can move on now. And we can be done with the joke of a title reign that he had over the heavyweight division. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about the recent news coming up. Next video will probably be predictions for International Fight Week. Shani do Bronx against Ilya Topuria. I pray for Charles Oliveira, man. He's gotta get that W. Anyways, Jesus MMA. Ciao, ciao.